Hey everybody, I am back at it again. You saw my original coil ear fix where I made this block that just straps down with these little holes. Well, I had a piece of block left over, and my goal is to take this one and make it fit, down in here with little feet. I have to trim it. I got several lines. I got a bunch of plans here, that I figured out, and overall it's going to be smaller, lighter, 1/4 inch thick in each dimension, sides and the bottom, feet that sit in those little low spots on the coil. It'll be tighter to the coil and a little bit lower center of gravity. So I'm going to get cutting, and I'll show you the progress on this one. The top of this here, it's a little uneven. It kind of goes that way. So I drilled a couple holes where I'm not going to use it. That'll be cut out later. This is going to be cut, kind of like that, to hold the block to the wood that's clamped to my sawhorse thing, so I don't have to drill holes in this anymore. And so I'm going to get to trimming that. I just used a little countersink bit to countersink those so I can slide the small skill saw I got over the top of that. Alright, let's get going. Several saws and tools later, I've got this thing drilled down to, the top is now kind of right. I got a sander for later, and this side here is pretty good. Now I'm going to try to notch this out next, see how that turns out. After that, I'll work on cutting the middle out down to its 1/4 inch size. Alright, so this one I left out on the last piece, but I had to trim the thickness of it. It's not perfect. I use a skill saw on my bigger one. My little skill saw that I can use for some of the other cuts. But same thing, I countersunk some stuff in there in areas that aren't that important, so I'll have a couple holes later, but it'll be good. Next up, I did some relief cuts with that little Ryobi. This is the bottom here where that notch is, where the coil sticks up. This is upside down right now. So I sliced a bunch of relief cuts, and now I'm going to try to clean it up with the DeWalt jigsaw, and then I have a sander for later. Here we are cut the bottom out of it. That's the part that kind of straddles the coil, and I got my cheap Amazon sander that I'm going to whip up a little sanding on it, and then I'll test fit it on the coil. I got the coil here, and that's the original block I made. That you see, it's about a 1/2 inch thick all around, maybe a 1/4 on the bottom. But the new one here, I'm going to grab that and bring it over here. That's kind of exactly how I want it to fit. I cut out the bottom hole a little bit big. Again, these skill saws and stuff, I had the blade set at a 1/2 inch and it went further. But this stuff's a little tough to work with. But anyway, I'll make this work. I'll just make this line here a little higher so the bottom's thicker. And it's got nice little feet. The water can pass through there. It doesn't hug the coil quite like I thought. I could shorten the feet. I might do that. I might shorten the feet so the center's actually touching. But I still got to cut out the whole center section, so got a little bit of work to do. Here we are. I trimmed it up a little bit, and I shortened the legs a little, and it looks like you can kind of barely see through it now. That's pretty cool though. I mean, if I wanted to, well, it's going to strap on here the same way as the other one. I'll probably put a couple ties from here, but anyway, still got to cut the middle out, but I think I got it. It's sitting in the saddle real nice there, and I really kind of like the way this is coming out. And it's got a lot of trimming and sanding. I still got to do the hole in the center, but I'm not going to do that till I drill the middle to make sure I know that where the floor is and exactly where that hole needs to go. I got a lot of wiggle room right up here. I can't go too high, or the rubber washers for the side of the handle will stick out. Anyway, I'm going to keep working on it. Well, I cut the middle out mostly with a skill saw, but this stuff just, it kind of goes left and right, and I'm chipping it out now with a chisel. It's a little bit of a job, but I'm getting real close, and I'll just keep working on it. A little bit of sanding and a little bit of more chopping out that middle. You can see it's a little rough, but it's not as bad as my first one. Let's see how this fits on here. It looks like I can see through it if I could get some light behind it. Yeah, it's fitting on there, you know, and you can see it's got a little bit of a gap, which is good. Anyway, I still got to drill holes in here for the tie wraps, and I want to shape this thing a little more rounded like a normal. But this one's even lighter than my last one, it seems. But you know, it is what it is. It still looks taller, but it's less thick. You know, I tried to make the sides a little, something was off, but I think when I cut this measurement right here, I still left it a little too wide. So if I wanted to, I could shave down one of these sides. But I mean, it is so lightweight right now. As long as I make it a little more aerodynamic, I think it's going to be fine. You know, these two holes are from screws to hold it down, but this is going to peak right here, and it's going to come down around there, and that's where the knob's going to go. So I got a little more to do. We're back at it again. What's on tap today is, now that I know that this fits in there and I drilled the hole and everything works, is we're going to inset this into this plastic, you know, like it is on the regular coil here. So there's like, and to help us out with that is this 1-inch bit, and then I'm going to lessen the thickness of this using my latest $30 tool I got from Facebook Marketplace. I'm going to get to it now. Okay, in the beginning there was one. Now there's two, and this one's smaller and lighter. Put it next to that one. Swing around to this side, and you can see that one looks a little taller, but it sits down on the coil, so actually it's about the same, or a little about the less. But this one's thicker, that one's a little thinner. I still didn't get the one side. I got a belt sander, and this stuff takes longer to belt sand than you think, so one side's still a little thicker, but this baby's gonna go right down on there. And I'm telling you right now, this stuff here, this is indestructible, man. You put that on your metal detector and it's not going to break. You can lean on it, 200 pounds. You'll probably break your coil before you break that. I got the insets nice. Now I can pop this in here and see it once it goes in there. Not getting the bolt in there straight. Once it goes in, it's inset just like it's supposed to be. And I got enough thread coming out the other side that I got plenty to go 2/3 of the way inside the other plastic nut. So I'm going to bolt this on, and then I'll show you the thing in full glory. Here you go. It's all mounted on there in all its glory. Nice and tight. I can swivel it, you know, it stays tight, so when you're out in the water or something, you want to do that or that when you're going on the sand. I can tighten it more. I just tighten it medium. If you can see real close in there, losing light here, I got a couple of white washers that kind of match that plastic. I tried to get it almost exact, you know, so the rubber washers from the actual mine lab, but it still grips pretty tight. So you know, it's not a perfect science, but there's my little unit, number 2. And I mean, it's lightweight, it's a little thing, you know, you're out there